Marriage Broker Auntie presents Behind the Scenes. This is an audio series documenting the lives of happily married couples who've committed to spending their every day building healthy relationships. Growing up, we've listened to countless stories that end with meeting your soulmate, getting married, and living happily ever after. But is that all to relationships? We're here to find out more. We hope to unravel marriage through stories of real relationships. I'm your host Priyanka Bharadwaj, founder and CEO of Marriage Broker Auntie, which is a matrimonial advisory and relationship coaching service. What you're about to hear is an unscripted conversation with a couple who've graciously come forward to share their relationship story.
Okay, I'm Radhakrishna. I've been in Bangalore and seeing Bangalore for more than 50 years. I've seen back what it was, what it is now, and I love Bangalore.
I'm born and brought up in Chennai. After marriage, I came to Karnataka and settled here for 61 years.
Every conversation with every couple is unique and special. But today's conversation is extra special because my guests today are octogenarians, Mrs. Vinutha and Mr. Radhakrishna, who've been married for over 60 years. Yes, you heard that right. They've been together for more than half a century. Vinutha was 19 and Radhakrishna was 26 when they got married way back in 1960. It was also the day they first met. Since then, they've had 4 children and 7 grandchildren of their own and raised a few others as their own. These days, they spend their time catching up with close friends and relatives, watching movies, listening to music and reading books. While Vinutha can be often found solving Sudokus, Radhakrishna is a freelance writer who occasionally sings his and Vinutha's favorite songs. You guys have been married for more than 60 years, which is unimaginable for somebody of this generation. How did you guys meet and how did you guys end up getting married?
We got married in 1960. I had passed my BSc and then BA. In those days, there were very few people who had passed the engineering. So I never failed in any subject and very quiet, unassuming person, reserved person. So everybody started liking and they encouraged me to study. That my parents, they were very particular that I should study. In fact, I wanted to go abroad, but I was the eldest of 10 children. My father never gave me permission to go abroad because he knew I had to take the responsibility of the family, the others. From her side, she was one of the most sought after brides in those days. Her mother's sister was here, married to my uncle and all that. And she liked me immensely, their whole family liked. And they felt this girl being so intelligent, she should marry only this person, something like that.
I should marry this man only. In our community, educated persons were not there much. I was praying. It got to. On the marriage day itself, we saw each other. Before that, we didn't meet.
There is a case, where we have married without seeing each other. When I first saw her, there was this Nagaswaram was blowing. A lot of relatives were around and she came with a garland and stood.
You can imagine something like that today, right? How did you agree? She said that there weren't a lot of educated people in your community and so she wanted to marry you. What about you? Why was she the most sought after bride?
My parents had very high expectations from me. Out of 10, 50% of the importance was given to me. Rest 50% was divided among the others. I believed in their decision making. Who else is and your parents were the best well-wishers close to you. And My uncles, aunts, everybody said it's a good. So when I was, it's okay, what is there for me to see? I didn't have any expectation about how a girl should look like or dress like or how much she should have studied. I was probably more innocent then.
I finished my SSLC then in 58. I got married in 60. 1.5 years I was at home helping my mom and aunt. So my parents and my uncle and aunt, they approached their parents, his parents, and got through this alliance.
So your parents wanted you to get married, but were you ready to get married?
That time situation I should marry. my, my parents expected that only. I wanted to go to college, but my father didn't agree to that because at that time, 17, 18 years means girl should be married. I didn't know.
So it must have been quite a change for you going from your parents' house into this really large family. So once you got married, do you remember what it was like in the initial few years? How did you guys adjust to each other?
My parents' advice was you should adjust to that, to your husband, your in-laws, and to that family. Should get along. That was the advice I got. So I followed that one. I won't speak to him against anything because my father-in-law passed away after our marriage of 1.5 years. So the responsibility fell on him, and so I cooperated. My personal expectations were not there much.
When you came into this house, were you scared about how your life might change once you came in?
Four children of my parents. I was the last one. They are all, two of my sisters got married. They were 10 years, 7 years older than me. And my young brother also 4 years older. I am the least because in this house, so many children, seven of them were here, his brothers and sisters. I like that company. And
It must have been so nice to be welcomed in the house by this huge family. What about you, sir? What do you remember from those days? It must have been so hard to manage an entire family while also welcoming a new person into your life.
When I first saw her, what I noticed was her big eyes. She was scared, but innocent. She didn't find any difficulty in adjusting to our house. My mother was very strict. My father was very kind. He was the one who was very sympathetic to her. And my mother had to train her. So before marriage, no, she was taken care of so well because she was the last daughter with all and all that. Her sister used to tell me, we never allowed her to work. But he, as the eldest daughter-in-law, she had a lot of course, we had assistants, sisters, but they were also chipping. She is a fast learner, so picked up things easily and excelled them.
And how did you support her? Did you do anything to support her because she had to go from being the youngest to sort of being very responsible in your house?
Actually, we didn't have any plans how to tackle this situation as it arose, See, we are more like friends, brother, sister. But they even treat her as their mother. They give more importance to her than myself. So based on respect and at the same time compassion. There were occasions where there were some tips and all that. She never would tell me. Occasionally, after sometimes she used to tell me when we are alone or somewhere. That in my own way, I tried. I said I pacify anything. I tried to pacify, but a lot could have been done more. That's what I feel now.
It's so kind of you to be acknowledging that you could have done more back then. What about you, ma'am? Were you expecting that your husband supported you more back then?
so a comfortable life, and I was so happy. And like my father-in-law treated me very well. He used to call me Ammadi. Means
Mother.
mother.
So it felt so nice being treated with so much respect after having been the youngest one in your house, right? Apart from this, was there any trouble getting along with your in-laws? What was the relationship like?
Uh, Not much difficult. My brother-in-laws is in transferable jobs. So they were, all the family members are separately settled down in one place or another place. So we were in UP for 5.5 years on his transfer. My brother-in-law in Bhadravati, another one got in watch factory. He is in Bangalore. So mother used to go to all the places. But she would stay sometimes.
So obviously that was the initial few years. How did your own relationship evolve over a period of time?
Life was very, very end to us. When I married, I was in KRS, research station. So every day I had to go to the KRS gardens and they had a beautiful quarters and all that. Sometimes my father used to come and stay, mother used to come and stay, and my brothers used to come and do some gardening and all that. So we had good time. In fact, people asked me, "Where did you go for honeymoon?" I said, "You were in KRS itself. Where else to go?" She was highly valued in our family. Everybody wanted to be friendly with her, help her where she needed it and all that. Most of the times, at least. It was all smooth sailing with some ups and downs, which naturally comes in life.
Do you remember what life was like when you had your first child together?
When she became pregnant, we didn't want. So those days, this abortion laws, those thing was not there. We tried some local methods and all that did succeed. Unfortunately, we didn't succeed because our son is doctor here. In fact, we never knew how time passed. I had very interesting work in the public works department as civil engineer. So I was succeeding, liked, respected. So likewise, she was also liked and respected. She had few friends, but good friends. That is very important in the early stages. We were in South. We learned quite a lot from those people. We liked that district so much.
So outside of family, you guys also had your own set of friends and you socialized with your own set of friends. Was there ever a situation where you felt that one of you was spending too much time with friends and you wanted to spend time together as a couple? What was that like?
Such occasions did arise. Okay. As an officer, I had to mix with some people, go to parties and all that. Sometimes she was angry, sometimes we had angry. But we never continued that, forgot the whole thing and got on with life. At that age, friends matter quite a lot. We would like to spend more time with friends, discussing all things in the world. In fact, one day, after about 30, 40 years of marriage, we had some arguments. She asked me to keep quiet. We don't know how to quarrel. I kept quiet, the matter ended.
After the children were a little older, I used to go for the parties. My brother-in-law and sister-in-law, they used to go for films. And after they have seen, they will look after the children. We used to go for night shows, for English movies and all. Children were sleeping. I never missed anything.
Particularly Tamil movies, she was, because she knew Tamil she studied and all that. But after marriage, she learned Kannada, she read books in Kannada, and she speaks fluent Kannada. So,
when my first child was born, I was in my mother's place. So the next door, one girl was there. So from her, I used to learn Kannada alphabets and all. And then, when he was 5 years old, we were in Udupi. So second son was also born. But that lady, Lilabai Kamath, she was councillor of municipality in Udupi. She used to give me Kannada books, first standard to fifth standard. You study one by one, you will learn Kannada. And that way I learn Kannada. I can't write I can read newspaper and S.L. Bhairava's books. Now, his novels, almost after that also really encouraged to continue my education. When my last daughter was 6 years old, I started PUC. Two PUCs passed, and after that I joined BCom correspondence course, Mysore State. So I wanted to get a degree. I couldn't finish my BCom.
2 years she did, but then afterwards there were 2, 3 marriages in our house. A lot of responsibility. She could not share to devote her attention for that. So I would slip away. We transferred from that place.
Did you ever want to work?
No, very comfortable. Looking after and studying.
Did you ever feel frustrated that you could not complete your BCom? You had started and you couldn't complete because of responsibilities at home?
One corner is regret is that it was so difficult for me to study in that year of 38, 40 years.
Oh, absolutely. I can imagine that. But it's still really commendable that you were balancing so many things at once. Did you guys ever have disagreements or fights about anything over the last 60 years? Do you remember any incidents like that?
No, nothing. Arguments I don't like at all.
No, we had arguments. I'm an aggressive person. So I had to look after the family. I used to consult everybody and take decisions. And when something came in the way, sometimes I lost my cool and routine. That afterwards, that's all. We did do that.
And how do you normally resolve a fight? Is there a process? Do you guys talk about it?
Process is just use some time. Don't continue the argument and be nice to each other. There is a saying in Tamil, Nalla mudivu agandar. That means for a good ending, initial sacrifice is the starting point. Keep quiet means the other person automatically comes. Words are not helpful. Keep arguing with more differences. Keep quiet, calm your mind, give the attention, focus attention what is to be done now, and the whole thing disappears. It also passes away. Simple solution for all these things. But unfortunately, people make very small things very big. They suffer, they make others also suffer.
So, was it always one person containing the argument, always being calm? Do you guys alternate?
Sometimes she did, sometimes I did. Say, people, however good they are, misunderstandings are bound to occur at some point. Life teaches us to be just patient. My father used to say two small sentences. Taalidavanu Balyan, Pancham. Taalidavanu Balyan, those who tolerate alone this. Whatever comes your way, enjoy.
Now, how do you both spend time with each other?
See, the responsibilities are well defined. She keeps doing. She likes Sudokus, she does. She reads newspapers, she reads. She reads, watches certain TV programs, she does it. And all purchases and other things, she takes care. So from I'm not good at cooking. If I start to do something in the kitchen, it increases her work. So she doesn't want me there.
Common thinking means we used to listen to classical Carnatic music very much. So many of artists we used to. Nowadays we are listening in YouTube and
music and dance programs we have attended quite a lot. Good movies
and good lectures. Sadhguru, Jaggi Ravi Shankar.
It's so nice that you guys enjoy doing things with each other. Recently, have you done anything really memorable? Would you be able to share a favorite memory from recent times?
There are plenty. Another video out of that. We will select a very embarrassing question we were asked. We were in Rome. My eldest son and my second son, his wife, the whole family was in Europe too.
For our 50th wedding
anniversary. London, Paris, Rome. Last day was Rome. We have put up where we had dinner together and wine. Instead of water, they gave wine. So everybody was in a good company. We were 17 in numbers. There were people sitting in they were watching how your family could enjoy so much. Only these two letters with wonder. So then afterwards, that one fellow started playing violin or something. And He asked, now you should kiss each other. She said, we never do it in public.
Yeah, I'm sure that would have been a memorable incident. Now, what would you say after having been married for so many years? What are your greatest learnings from marriage?
Personally, I feel you should not have any expectations from each other. Just accept them as they are. Treat them as individuals. Give them respect where it is due. And correct them where it is required. And taking care to see that they are not hurt. And it is a question of mutual adjustment, that's all. Now people give a lot of importance to physical appearance, how a girl should look. And, they see our movies and all, but they have their own pictures and all that. And they want the girl to be beautiful. The beauty of a girl is, and how it is judged is given by one of our greatest saints, Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. One of them. The beauty of a girl is in the heart, expressed through the eyes. That very much. That's why, when I look back, I think I did the wisest thing in not seeing the girl before marriage. It is love after marriage.
Yeah. That's true.
Do you have a message for youngsters today who are either looking to get married or newly married?
Message for youngsters, you should listen to your inner voice. See, God is not elsewhere. He is inside only. You listen to your voice. And the decision should be like, you should not hurt your parents. You should not hurt your well-wishers. You should not hurt your friends. So that the balanced decision, these people are capable of taking. They know much more than us.
If you listen to this conversation once, you probably thought that Vinutha and Radhakrishna are just like any other couple from their generation. If you've listened to this conversation twice, then you already know that the gold is in the details. What I found fascinating about Vinutha and Radhakrishna's story is the individual interests and opportunities each of them enjoyed in their relationship while managing the responsibilities of running large households. This is something people of even this generation strive for in their relationships, but seldom manage it well. While Vinutha humbly says that she's had such a blissful married life, Radhakrishna kindly adds that he wishes he could have supported his wife more in their initial years. My biggest learning from this conversation was that it is best to go into a relationship without any expectations and to only cherish the good memories. It may be hard for you and me to understand or appreciate this, but when you're looking back at a 60-year-old relationship, you enjoy the benefit of hindsight much more than anyone else. Thank you for listening to Behind the Scenes. These conversations are available on the Marriage Broker Auntie channel on YouTube and Spotify. Please subscribe to our channel if you haven't already done so you can have access to future episodes as soon as they're out. Much has been said about how we meet our partners, but very little about how we build relationships with them. So if you think this conversation could inspire someone you know, don't forget to share this with them. If you'd like to follow us on social media, you can find us on Instagram and Twitter. You can also go to our website marriagebrokerantie.com, Auntie with an IE, to learn more about this project and the work we do.